Lee, still the IBF Featherweight champion of the world. Congrats on that. With regard to what happened this week in your private life, you still put on a clinical performance. How did you prepare mentally?
Well, to be honest, I just tried to stay as professional as I could. I blanked out when I went on back home. I told my team not to mention nothing, but like it was all out on social media. So every time a fan had come for a photo, they'd like give their condolences, but I'd just ignore them. I'd pretend they didn't say a thing. Tried to blank it out, stay professional, got the job done. Now I'll go home tonight and see the rest of the family.
You were supposed to fight this guy earlier that year. He pulled out like 10 minutes before. What would have happened if he did it again?
If that's another reason why I didn't pull out. I couldn't have pulled out. I'm like a year behind on fights as it is due to like pullouts and inconveniences. So I had to go on with the fight. Luckily I did. I got a win and I could move on with my career.
He was a very experienced fighter, almost 50 fights on the clock. What was the biggest challenge in the ring, or was it a no-brainer?
To be honest, I sort of like boxed within myself, like I've been doing in most of my fights. I'm pretty comfortable, but his biggest threat was probably his experience. He was like making me fall short with the jab at times, and like swinging his harder shots, and he was catching me now and again. So his main thing was experience and like the judgment of distance.
When did the cut happen, and did it have any effect on you?
I'm not sure. It happened quite early on with a head clash, but I'm pretty experienced. Since I've only had like 25 or 26 fights, whatever it is, I'm very experienced in those fights. Every fight since like about 2010 have been like 12-round title fights. I've only had one 10-round fight in between. So my experience for so little fights keeps me in good stead. I've been cut many times, like due to head clashes again, and I think that's due to my height. The guys I'm fighting are a lot shorter. I'm tall for the weight, and I'm coming down low. They're coming up, and I'm clashing heads. Well, I got a great cut man in my corner, very experienced, and once the cut happens, he works and then never bleeds again.
Earlier that night, Kid Galahad won his fight also in style. He's supposed to be the next mandatory. Would you like to fight him, or would you prefer the likes of FRAMPTON or Josh Warrington maybe? To
be honest, I think Kid Galahad is a better fighter than, well, not so much a better fighter than Frampton, but I think star-wise he'd beat Frampton, and he'd 100% beat Josh Warrington. But he's not as high profile as like a fighter like Carl Frampton. So I want the big fights. So Carl Frampton, like Leo Santa Cruz, Abdul Myers, the high profile fights. That's what I prefer. So
you want a headline a show?
Pardon?
You want a headline a show?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yesterday there was that insane Mayweather McGregor press conference. What do you think about that? Is that like a sport competition, or is it a freak show?
A freak show. To be honest, I'm like an old school boxing man, boxing fan, traditionalist. But it is great for the sport. It brings in like massive numbers. Even the press conferences selling out arenas. So it's good for the sport. But to be honest, it's not my thing.
Thank you very much.
But I'll still be watching like everybody else.
Of course.
Mm.
Thanks.
Thank you.